So Doom: The Dark Ages is perhaps the third in a trilogy. Who knows what it are doing at this stage? Which started off with Doom 2016, or Doom 4, if you prefer. Doom Eternal was the sequel, came 4 years later. We've had to wait 6 years for this entry, which is the third and perhaps final. Who knows?
So does this game take off just where Doom Eternal's left it, or is there a bit of a gap in terms of story and where you are?
Well, that's a really good question, and I'll tell you why. I loved Doom 2016. It had a really strong narrative. The gameplay, it felt brilliant to play. It absolutely nailed what it set out to do, which was to update the Doom formula. Yes, I am old enough to have actually played the original Doom when it first came out. That's tragic, isn't it? Doom Eternal just kind of threw all of that out. I understand its need, is it id idea? I think it's id, is its need to kind of keep innovating. They want to do something new and different every time. But the trouble is, when you're doing that, you sometimes throw the baby out with the bathwater and throw away what was good about the original game.
Get rid of the gold dust. If it's not broken, don't fix it.
Exactly. And Doom Eternal, for me, felt like they fixed what wasn't broken and in the process broke it. I didn't actually complete Doom Eternal. So when I started Doom: The Dark Ages, I realised this is quite a long and roundabout answer to quite a simple question. I assumed that I didn't have a frigging clue what was going on because I hadn't finished Doom Eternal. I thought, okay, it'll come to me. Probably should have been a recap, but it'll come. I'll get on board eventually. And it never really happened. And then I realised that's because Doom: The Dark Ages is in fact a prequel. Yet perhaps I should have done a bit more research. Yeah, you could argue that. But how many people do? Let's be honest.
The game should, if it's a prequel, it should make it known. It'd be like, for a year, how many years before, and you get a feel, so you should know what was going on. So the fact, you didn't realise that and know what was going on does say maybe the story wasn't as complete as Doom 2016.
No, I think you're right, and to sort of, I'm kind of trying to preempt criticism because I know games journalists go mostly right, most justly get quite a lot of criticism. People probably saying, well, why didn't you do your research? Well, would the average person who's going to play this do the research? I mean,
if put it in your console and start playing, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, with Doom Eternal, I went to the preview events. They go to great lengths to tell you absolutely everything about the game, especially the stuff you don't particularly want to know. Whereas I didn't have that for this. I kind of came into it just as a gamer, really, as a gamer would, and I just didn't. It just was prattling nonsense to me. I just didn't get it. I mean, it's supposed to be a prequel. It didn't feel like a prequel.
Is that the story as a whole? I mean,
yeah.
So the whole story was just a bit of a mess, would you say? Or was that a bit harsh?
I mean, the overall story thread with Doom is Earth is at war with hell. The very first Doom game was, your space marine, Doom guy, as we call him, on a space station on Mars. It's demons coming in. It's like, oh my God, what's going on here? And that kind of evolved into a full-blown war with hell, and Doom Guy, or the Slayer, as he's called now, is basically mankind's last best hope to try and hold off the demons of hell. But the story has kind of gone off in so many different directions. It just doesn't really hold any water whatsoever now. If I'd have had a choice, I would have rather than gone with the Doom 2016 approach, a nice, strong, simple narrative, a guy in the radio saying, do this, do that. Brilliant. It makes sense then. But with this, there was just a load of stuff. I was thinking, oh, well, who's that? What's this? Why am I here? Why do I care? I don't. And I was just kind of getting on with the game. And the gameplay is good, but it really needed a narrative to sustain it because it does get repetitive.
So in terms of, you've touched upon saying the gameplay is good. I mean, how good is good? We know Doom is a fast-paced shooter, chaos. Does it hold up to that there?
It does. In a way, I preferred the gameplay actually a lot more than I did with Doom Eternal. I know people tend to either like Doom 2016 or Doom Eternal. I suppose some like both. I think the majority like one or the other. I much preferred Doom 2016. I didn't like the changes at all to Doom Eternal. Much has been made of the verticality, and it's they kind of they did dial back on that a lot with this. You don't have double jumps and stuff like that anymore. It is, you can still run quite quickly. The loss of the verticality is gone. You can kind of claw your way up walls, which is, kind of nice. You feel much more like a really meaty tank in this. But the gunplay is really slick. There is still that loop that was there in Doom Eternal. I mean, you've got a shield this time. It's got like a little serrated chainsaw around the outer edges. And you're supposed to, certain moves, like the melee kills, produce ammo. But you can only do a melee so many times, then you have to unlock that melee again. And it kind of forces you to play in a circular way. You have to play in a loop. And I didn't really
bit restrictive.
Yeah, as a fan of the very original Doom, back in whenever it was, early 90s, the guns were the star. You had all this weaponry, and you get better weaponry as you go, and it's just more and more inventive ways of blowing up demons. But now you've got to mess around with melees and the shield, and when green bullets come towards you, you've got to parry them back, and it's too much that's there to kind of make up for something that doesn't need making up for. Because if it just let you loose with the weaponry, it would be
much more fun game.
Yeah, more fun.
And that's what Doom is, one of those games where it is meant to be fun chaos. It's not meant to be like, oh, I've got to parry this, I've got to, counter and jump in this way. I just want to be running fast, shooting, and killing as much as I can.
Boomer shooter, I believe, is what the genre is called. Although I don't know whether that's boomer because of shotguns or because people who like them are baby boomers. I should point out, I'm Gen X. No. I'm old. I'm not that old. But yeah, it's as a result of that, I fell out of love with the game about halfway in. What doesn't help as well, actually, is I can't remember, it's chapter 4, chapter 5. Once you've seen the mech level and the dragon level, you've seen everything that this game has to offer. But what about the weapons, I hear people screaming in the YouTube comments? Well, yes, you do get weapons throughout the game. However, they're all paired up with other weapons. So, for example, you may have seen in the previews and the trailers and so forth, there's this really nice gun that you feed demon skulls into, and it minces them up and fires the shards of skull at the enemies. You then pick up another one that is functionally the same as that gun much later on in the game, and you can switch between them with a single button press. But one sort of has a wider spread and one has a narrower spread. So it's
pretty much the same gun.
It's pretty much the same gun, but with a different firing mode. But that's presented as two guns. And I think they've used that as a way to try and say, oh, look how many weapons we've got. Well, you can cut that in half. That's how many weapons you've actually got. And not all of the weapons are, so some people are shotgun guys, some people are skull being minced up guys, some people are rocket launch guys, well, whatever. But there's just not. It didn't feel to me like there was the skull gun aside, the imagination and the variety that you really would seek in a game such as this.
No, 100%. Just picking up on something you said a moment ago, that after the mech level and the dragon level, there wasn't really much else to see. Do you mean that as in the other levels weren't as good, or that you have seen the whole map and you sort of go backpedaling, replaying the same levels with different...
the new maps. Sorry, I didn't mean to... Yeah, it's not like a Metroidvania. You do progress through the game.
It's just the quality of levels is much lower.
It's very samey.
Yeah.
It's once you've seen everything looks the same. Once you've seen one level, you've kind of seen them all. There's not really very much variety there.
And they had for room. They could have really made different aesthetics for each level to make it feel new each time you progress.
Yeah, I mean, this may be a symptom of it being a prequel. So, although there does seem to be quite a lot of I've got no idea with it. I've got no idea where this game was set. I mean, I'm assuming it's all alternative timeline. I've played literally every Doom game that has released, and I didn't have a clue what was going on in this. It may be because of the time period, I don't know what it is, but everything is that same shade of diarrhea brown. It just all looks the same. There's, there's the same few NPC character models who cower as you walk past them. That's kind of nice the first time. It's those same guys cowering at me again, the 70th time. Like I said, with the dragon level, you play it, and yes, it is different dragon levels, but it all feels the same. The mech, really nice power fantasy, you're putting your fist through buildings and stuff like that. And then it's the same when the mech comes back later, and the same when it comes back later. It just feels like you're playing the same bit over and over again, even though they are technically different maps, yeah.
So, to summarise then,
let's start with the pros. The music is absolutely fantastic. It's a brilliant accompaniment to the game. Really fast, smooth, and meaty action. That kind of tank-like central character now, Doom guy / the Slay. The mech levels do provide an impressive power fantasy. You've got some really good accessibility settings to customize the gameplay and the difficulty. Doom Eternal was quite unforgiving. This gives you more options to play with to make it that bit easier. Loads of secrets to discover. If you want to hang around and explore, there's so much to find actually on each level, and the map is pretty good as well, so to help you find this stuff. And it is a better game than Doom Eternal. As for the cons, well, the graphics all look as though they've been strained through the gusset of some soiled underpants. Everything has been run through a shit filter. It feels like a game that was pushed out 20 years ago. The story is absolutely incomprehensible and just downright poor. You've seen all there is to see once you're a few levels in, basically after you've done the first dragon level. The gameplay loop is incredibly repetitive. The game can induce motion sickness, and indeed with me, unless you fart around with the settings. I did manage to get rid of that with some settings, but do be aware of that if you do occasionally suffer motion sickness with first-person shooters. And it is significantly worse than Doom 2016, in my humble opinion, and is obviously worse than the very first one.
So then what score are you giving?
Well, it's getting 68%, which on our review scale is fair. The core gameplay is solid. It just is incredibly repetitive, has a nonsense narrative, and not enough variety in the weapons.
Which is a shame, because all of them issues you've mentioned, they are quite easy fixes, what should have been picked up on,
But especially with a 6-year development cycle.
The basis gameplay was there for them to build upon and make this, a game that could easily get an 85%. So it's...
I think you said it at the beginning, don't break what isn't broken.
Yeah.
They broke it, I'm afraid. But don't forget, if you absolutely hated that review and think we're dreadful human beings, don't forget to hit the downvote button. And if you're not already a subscriber, maybe consider subscribing so that you can unsubscribe, and then tell us in the comments that you've unsubscribed.
And why you unsubscribed. We always like to know why as well.
Well, it's obvious. We're awful.